Dad, I sold the house. Pack your bags. Samantha's voice trembled, but her eyes were cold, fixed on the moving truck swallowing every piece of my life. I stood barefoot on the porch, clutching Evelyn's quilt against my chest, as neighbors slowed their cars, staring at the old fool being thrown out like garbage. My throat closed, my heart pounding, and all I could hear was the clang of furniture being dragged, the echo of my wife's laughter long gone. I wanted to scream, to beg, but pride glued my lips shut. My only daughter, my blood, had just erased the walls that held Evelyn's perfume, her framed cross-stitch prayers, the piano where Samantha once stumbled through Chopin. All gone, all for Caleb's shiny dream, his startup that already smelled like a scam. I pressed the worn fabric of the quilt to my face and whispered Evelyn's name, so soft no one could hear. And in that second of humiliation, I felt something else, a weight in my pocket. My fingers brushed over the small brass key Evelyn had pressed into my palm before cancer took her. "For when you don't know where to stand," she had said, her voice fragile, her eyes sharp as glass. I had almost forgotten. Almost. But not now. Not after this betrayal. Subscribe now, because what I uncovered after that day didn't just change my life. It exposed secrets my daughter never dreamed of, and you'll want to see how it all unraveled. Samantha's lips moved, spitting out excuses. "It's for your own good, Dad. You're too old to keep this house. Caleb has plans. You'll thank me later." She touched my arm, and I flinched as if burned. Her hand was warm, but the chill in her words cut deep. Behind her, Caleb barked orders to the movers, pointing at my books, my tools, Evelyn's china. His grin was a knife. I asked her, hoarse, "Where am I supposed to go?" The words cracked in the middle, betraying more weakness than I wanted her to see. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stared at her nails, the ones painted coral like Evelyn's once were, but without any of her mother's grace. Finally, she muttered, "We found a place, a shelter, just for a while." My chest tightened until I thought it might burst. The porch creaked under my weight as I leaned back against the railing. The shelter, like a stray dog left at the pound. My neighbors whispered, shaking their heads. "Mrs. Callahan from across the street clutched her cardigan tighter, pity written all over her wrinkled face. I wanted to vanish, to crumble into dust, but Evelyn's quilt reminded me to breathe. Inside, Caleb laughed, loud, mocking. I caught a glimpse of him holding my wedding picture like a cheap trinket before tossing it carelessly into a box. My fists clenched. My nails dug into my palms. The sound of glass cracking told me the frame hadn't survived. Neither had the last sliver of my patience. I turned my eyes back to Samantha. My Samantha. Her lips quivered, but her chin stayed high. "You'll be fine, Dad. Trust me." Trust. The word stung. Trust was Evelyn's dying gift. Trust was the key in my pocket. And trust, I realized, was already gone. I lowered myself into the rocking chair Evelyn had chosen, though even that was being loaded next. The wood groaned beneath me, as if it too knew this was its last day here. I stroked the quilt's faded threads, each stitch Evelyn's love wrapped around me. My mind screamed with the urge to fight, to shout the truth, that this house was never theirs to sell. But then, something unexpected flickered in Samantha's eyes. Guilt. It darted in and out like a frightened bird. For one brief second, her mask slipped, and I saw my little girl again. The one who once cried when she scraped her knee. The one who used to crawl into bed between Evelyn and me during thunderstorms. But Caleb's voice boomed again, and the bird vanished. I rose slowly, every bone in my back protesting. Samantha stepped aside, not meeting my gaze. I walked past her, my boots heavy on the porch steps. Behind me, I heard Caleb laugh again, louder, like he'd already won. Maybe he had, but my fingers tightened around the brass key. No, I thought, not yet. The street smelled of damp leaves and gasoline. A chill swept under my collar. I paused at the gate, Evelyn's words whispering in my ears. For when you don't know where to stand. I didn't know yet, but I would. The moving truck roared to life, coughing black smoke into the air. My world vanished into its steel belly, piece by piece. I stayed rooted, a shadow among the neighbors' whispers. Shame burned my skin, hotter than the autumn sun. I swallowed it down, tasting bile and regret. Samantha came closer, lowering her voice so only I could hear. "Dad, please, don't make this harder." She didn't sound cruel. She sounded desperate. But whose desperation? Hers, or Caleb's grip on her throat? I opened my mouth to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I gave her one long look. The kind of look Evelyn once gave me when she wanted me to stop lying to myself. Samantha flinched, then turned away. My daughter, my betrayer, my blood. I walked away from the porch, away from the house that was no longer mine. The gravel crunched under my boots, a sound that felt final. But in my pocket, the key clicked softly against the coins. A reminder, a promise, a weapon. The shelter? No, that wasn't my destination. Not now, not ever. And just as I turned the corner, leaving behind the wreckage of my life, I noticed something odd. Caleb standing at the upstairs window, staring down at me with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. He raised his hand, holding something between his fingers. It was an envelope, and I knew, deep in my gut, that inside it was something meant to destroy me even further. The envelope in Caleb's hand haunted me all night. I lay awake on the cot of the shelter they'd arranged, staring at peeling paint and listening to a man 2 bunks over cough until dawn. The air stank of bleach and old sweat. My ears filled with snores, muttered dreams, and the rattle of someone's plastic bag. I was surrounded by strangers, yet more alone than ever. And still, my mind spun on that envelope Caleb waved like a flag. What was inside? A deed? A secret? Or something Evelyn had hidden, now twisted by his hands? Morning came in slashes of gray light through broken blinds. My back screamed in protest as I sat up, clutching the brass key like a talisman. I could almost hear Evelyn whisper, "Don't trust appearances. Look deeper." My heart pounded with the decision forming in my chest. I would not rot in this shelter. Not while Caleb strutted in my house, and Samantha pretended she'd done me a kindness. No, I had other places to go, other doors to try. If you've ever felt betrayed by the very person you trusted most, subscribe now. Because what I found that day turned betrayal into a weapon sharper than Caleb ever imagined. I walked out of the shelter without a word. The man at the desk called after me, but I kept moving, my boots echoing across the cracked tiles, my breath steaming in the cold morning air. I didn't look back. Some cages don't need locks to keep you trapped. Some cages live inside your skin. And I wasn't going to carry theirs. The bus depot was a skeleton of itself, hollowed out by years of rust and rain. Its windows were boarded, its benches splintered, its air stale with pigeons and dust. Yet when I stepped inside, my pulse raced like a boy's. The brass key warmed in my pocket as if it knew its turn had come. My fingers trembled when I slid it into box 312, the lock resisting, then surrendering with a soft click. Inside was a bundle, thick with paper and something heavier. I pulled it out, brushing away cobwebs. My throat tightened when I saw her handwriting, Evelyn's, on the top of the stack. A letter, folded neatly, my name scrawled in the ink she always used, the blue fountain pen Caleb once mocked as Grandma's toy. My knees nearly buckled. I sat right there on the cold floor, the letter shaking in my hands. "Walter," it began, just my name. But I heard her voice, strong, certain, alive. My vision blurred as I kept reading. She wrote of foresight, of distrust in Caleb even when Samantha first brought him home. She wrote of accounts and holdings I had never known existed, properties in my name, investments buried under LLCs. And then her final words, "Help her, but only after she learns. Don't shield her from herself." A chill crept up my spine. Evelyn had known. She'd planned for this, and I had been too blind, too trusting, to see it. My breath came in ragged pulls as I unfolded the map tucked behind the letter. 3 red X, bold and certain, each one a door waiting to be opened. My heart slammed against my ribs. The heavier object at the bottom of the bundle was a small black drive, a flash drive. Evelyn never used computers without me. What could she have possibly stored on it? My thumb traced its plastic edges, but without a machine, I couldn't know. Not yet. Still, its weight felt electric in my palm. A secret alive, waiting. I shoved everything back into the envelope, hugging it to my chest like a newborn. Then footsteps echoed. Someone else was in the depot. My blood froze. I tucked the envelope under my coat and rose, pretending calm as my ears tracked the sound. The boards creaked near the entrance. A shadow stretched long across the floor. "Dad?" The voice made my stomach twist. "Samantha." She stepped into the weak light, her face pale, her eyes darting. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not now. Not with me holding her mother's secrets. She opened her mouth again, but the words tangled in her throat. "What are you doing here?" My own voice was rough, sharper than I intended. She flinched. Her hands fidgeted with the strap of her purse, the same purse Caleb once bought her with my credit card. "Caleb, he said you might come here," she muttered. Her eyes flicked to the rows of lockers. My gut clenched. Caleb knew. He knew about the key. Her gaze caught on my coat, where the envelope bulged slightly. My heart pounded so loud I was sure she heard it. She took a step closer. "Dad, is there something you're not telling me?" Her voice cracked, but there was something in her eyes I hadn't seen before. Suspicion, fear, maybe even hunger. I wanted to protect her, but Evelyn's words burned in my chest. Don't shield her from herself. If I gave her this now, she would only hand it to Caleb. I swallowed hard and shook my head. "There's nothing here," I said flatly. The lie seared my tongue, but it was the only shield I had left. Her jaw tightened. For a moment, she looked exactly like Evelyn when she caught me fibbing about quitting cigarettes. But then, the resemblance faded, replaced by the hardness Caleb had carved into her. She nodded slowly, though I could see disbelief simmering under her skin. We stood in silence, the depot groaning with old wood, pigeons fluttering above. Finally, she whispered, "Dad, please, don't make things harder." Her voice carried the same words as on the porch, but this time her eyes shone with something else. Desperation. Not for me, for herself. I watched her turn, her heels clicking on the broken tiles as she left. My chest ached with the weight of what I wasn't telling her. She didn't look back. Not once. Only the faint echo of her perfume lingered, mixed with dust and rot. I stayed frozen long after she disappeared. Evelyn's letter burned in my coat pocket. Caleb's shadow hung over me, heavier than the dust in the air. And Samantha, my Samantha, was drifting further into his hands. The map, the red X's, they were my only path forward. I had no choice. My fingers traced them over and over until they blurred in the dim light. Each mark felt like a heartbeat, pulling me away from fear and into something larger. But just as I folded the map, the sound of tires screeched outside the depot. A car door slammed. Voices, low, urgent, not Samantha's. My skin prickled as I crept toward the boarded window, peering through the cracks. 3 men stood outside, dressed in dark coats, their eyes scanning the building like hunters. One of them clutched an envelope identical to mine. My stomach dropped. Caleb hadn't just guessed. He had copies. He had sent them. For me. And before I could move, the front door burst open, and a flashlight beam cut through the shadows straight toward me. The beam seared across the depot, slicing the darkness open. Dust glittered in the light like falling ash. My chest locked tight as I pressed myself against the cold lockers, the brass key biting into my palm. My breath threatened to betray me, shallow and ragged, each exhale loud as thunder in my ears. The men's footsteps pounded closer, heavy, deliberate, like they already knew where to look. The first man's voice echoed, sharp and mocking. "Walter Pierce, right? Old man should have stayed in the shelter." My blood froze. How did they know my name? Caleb. Of course. His poison had spread further than I thought. I gripped Evelyn's envelope tight, sweat dampening the edges. My wife's handwriting. Her secrets. My last defense. I crouched low, creeping along the row of lockers, every muscle aching with the effort to stay quiet. The floor groaned under my boots, betraying me with a single crack. The flashlight whipped in my direction. "There!" the man shouted. My heart bolted into my throat. I ran. My knees screamed. My back burned. But fear carried me faster than pain. If you've ever had to run for your life when you least expected it, subscribe now. Because what happened next nearly ended everything Evelyn left behind. The depot erupted with noise, boots slamming, shouts ricocheting off walls, the beam of the flashlight bouncing wild. I shoved through broken doors, splinters catching in my hands, the taste of rust and dust choking me. Outside, the cold air hit like knives, but there was no relief. Tires screeched again. A black car idled at the curb, its engine rumbling like a beast. I sprinted into the alley, lungs tearing, my coat flapping around me like torn wings. Behind me, their footsteps thundered. My hand brushed against the map inside my pocket, crumpling it. Evelyn's red X's pulsed in my mind, but I didn't know where to run first. All I knew was that if they caught me, the key, the letter, the drive, it would all be gone. A trash bin tipped as I shoved it over, clattering loud in the narrow alley. One of them cursed, close, too close. I ducked into a doorway, heart hammering, praying they'd pass, but their shadows stretched long across the bricks. They weren't giving up. My pulse roared in my ears as I pressed flat against the wood, every nerve screaming. Then, a sound. Tires peeling away. The black car roared, its headlights slicing through the alley. I thought it was leaving. It wasn't. It was charging. The grille gleamed, hungry, as it barreled straight toward me. I stumbled back, arms flailing. My boots slipped on wet concrete. For a split second, I saw Evelyn's face in my mind, calm, unyielding. I threw myself sideways as the car thundered past, the heat of its engine brushing my skin, the mirror clipping my arm. Pain shot like lightning, but I rolled into the shadows. The men shouted, their voices swallowed by the roar of the car turning sharp. It circled the block, hunting. I pushed myself up, gasping, blood dripping from my scraped palms. My arm throbbed where the mirror had caught me, but I still had the envelope, still had the key, still had Evelyn's words echoing in my bones. Don't shield her. I had no idea if Samantha was safe or already deeper in Caleb's snare. The depot's broken windows reflected their flashlights now sweeping back and forth. They weren't just after me. They wanted Evelyn's plan, and they were willing to crush me under a car to get it. My stomach twisted with rage, hot and sharp. Caleb hadn't just stolen my home, he'd unleashed wolves into my life. I staggered deeper into the alley, my boots squelching through puddles. Rats scattered, squealing, as I stumbled past. My breath smoked in the air, my chest burning like fire. Each step felt like the last. But then I saw it. A staircase. Rusted, narrow, climbing to a rooftop. My last chance. The metal groaned under my weight, flakes of rust raining down as I climbed. My legs trembled, but I didn't stop. Below, the flashlight beams caught the wall, dancing inches from my boots. A shout split the night. He's up there! My heart nearly broke my ribs, but I pulled myself higher, every tendon screaming. On the roof, the city stretched bleak and cold, lights flickering in the distance. The wind bit at my face, tearing through my coat. I crouched low, clutching the envelope to my chest. My body wanted to collapse, but I couldn't. Not yet. The men burst from the alley below, their voices echoing. They were spreading out, surrounding me. I crawled toward the edge, peering down. The black car prowled the street like a shark circling blood. Its driver leaned out, scanning the rooftops, eyes gleaming in the dark. My skin crawled. Caleb's reach was wider than I thought. He wasn't just greedy, he was dangerous. Then, my boot slipped on ice. My knee slammed hard against the roof, pain exploding through me. The envelope nearly slipped from my hands, fluttering dangerously toward the edge. My heart stopped. I lunged, grabbing it, before the wind carried Evelyn's secrets into the street. My fingers burned as I clutched it tight again. Below, one of the men raised something. Binoculars? He scanned the roof. I ducked low, pressing against the tar, my chest heaving. The smell of asphalt filled my nostrils. Every sound seemed amplified. The creak of the metal vent, the scrape of gravel under my coat. I was exposed, a cornered animal. I needed an escape. My eyes darted across the rooftops, searching. Then I saw it. Another building, lower, a few feet away. A gap wide enough to kill me if I missed. My stomach lurched. Could I jump it? My body was old, battered, but my mind whispered Evelyn's voice. Trust yourself. I rose slowly, knees shaking, the envelope pressed under my arm. The men's voices grew louder below. The car engine revved. Time was gone. I backed up, breath hitching, blood pounding. I took 3 steps, then leapt, the air tearing against my face, the gap yawning below me. For one terrible second, I thought I'd fall. My boots scraped the far ledge, slipping. My fingers clawed at the edge, nails splitting, muscles tearing with the effort. I hung there, suspended above the dark alley. My arms screamed, my chest burned, but I pulled, inch by inch, until finally I rolled onto the roof. I lay there gasping, sweat mixing with blood, stars spinning above me. My body felt shattered, but I still had it, the envelope safe against my ribs. I pressed it to my chest, whispering Evelyn's name like a prayer. My heart hammered, but I was alive. For now. Below, a shout rang out. "We saw him jump!" Their voices crawled up the walls, closer, hungrier. My reprieve wouldn't last. I staggered to my feet, legs wobbling, eyes scanning for another way down. Another door, another path. Then I saw it. A rooftop hatch, rusted but intact. I pulled, metal groaning as it gave way. Stale air wafted up, smelling of oil and mold. A ladder dropped into darkness. I hesitated only a second before climbing down. Anything was better than being torn apart on that roof. The hatch slammed shut above me. I descended into blackness, the air thick, each rung slick with grime. My boots slipped once, my stomach lurching as I caught myself. The echo of the men's shouts faded, but the silence below was worse. My chest tightened. What was I stepping into? At the bottom, my boots touched concrete. I fumbled for a light switch, my fingers grazing cobwebs and cold pipes. Finally, I found it. A single bulb flickered to life, buzzing, bathing the room in sickly yellow. It wasn't just any basement. It was a storage room. And against the far wall, stacked in neat rows, were boxes marked with my wife's handwriting. Evelyn's. And on top of the highest box sat another envelope, addressed to me. Waiting. The bulb flickered above me, shadows twitching across the room. I froze, staring at the stack of boxes, each one stamped in Evelyn's careful hand. My heart thudded, louder than the hum of electricity in the air. I staggered forward, my knees weak, my hands trembling. There it was, another envelope, perched like it had been waiting all these years. My name written in her familiar blue ink. I reached up, my fingers brushing the paper, the edges crisp despite the dust. I pulled it down, clutching it to my chest. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Evelyn's presence filled the room, her perfume of lilac and soap lingering in my memory. My throat tightened. I wanted to hear her laugh again, just once, just long enough to remind me this wasn't madness. Slowly, I tore the envelope open. The paper inside crackled softly, every sound amplified by the silence around me. Her words danced before my eyes. "Walter, if you're reading this, then the storm has already broken." My knees buckled, and I slid to the floor, the letter shaking in my hands. She had known. She had seen this coming. If you've ever discovered a secret from someone who was gone, subscribe now. Because what Evelyn revealed in that letter turned grief into fire, and it burned through every lie Caleb spun. The letter continued, her handwriting sharp, deliberate. You must understand, Caleb was never who he claimed. Before Samantha, before the house, before the lies, I found traces of him. He isn't just greedy. He's dangerous. He buries debts like bodies. And when they rise, he lets others sink in their place. My breath caught. Evelyn had known more than she ever told me. I scanned the rest with trembling eyes. The boxes hold proof, contracts, names, places he thought erased. Use them only when you must. But remember, Walter, Samantha has to see his mask fall with her own eyes. Don't protect her from the truth. Let her face it. My chest ached with every word. Evelyn's love, Evelyn's warning, Evelyn's plan. I set the letter aside and dragged the nearest box toward me. Dust billowed, catching in my throat as I pried it open. Inside were ledgers, receipts, photographs. Caleb shaking hands with men I didn't recognize, but their eyes were sharp, their suits expensive. My fingers turned pages filled with signatures, debts, transfers, proof of his rot. One photograph stopped me cold. Caleb with Samantha. Her smile wide, her hand on his chest. But in his eyes, something cruel, something cold. He wasn't looking at her. He was looking at the camera, as though daring whoever held it. A chill rippled through me. Evelyn had known even then. I shoved the photo back, anger coiling in my chest. My daughter, blind to his poison. My daughter, betraying me because of his lies. I slammed the box shut, the sound echoing off the walls. I didn't know whether to cry or roar. My body shook with rage, but Evelyn's words whispered steady in my ear. Don't shield her. I pulled out another box. This one held bank slips, each stamped with different names. Fake names. Caleb's handwriting scattered across them, careful, calculated. 100 lies stitched together with ink. My stomach churned. How deep did his trap go? How much had Samantha unknowingly signed? Suddenly, the bulb above me sputtered, buzzing louder. I froze. Footsteps. Distant, but coming closer. The ladder above rattled slightly. My blood went cold. They had followed me. The men. Caleb's wolves. My heart slammed against my ribs as I shoved the letter and photo back into the box. I needed to hide. I crouched low, dragging the nearest box stack into a crude barricade. The envelope burned in my pocket. Evelyn's words heavy as iron. The footsteps grew louder, echoing against the concrete. A voice, gruff, muttered something I couldn't hear. Then the hatch above squealed. Light spilled in. The bulb flickered out. Darkness swallowed me whole. I pressed my back against the boxes, trying to still my breath, my palms slick with sweat, my body trembling. The ladder creaked, weight descending step by step. My mind screamed Evelyn's warning again. Caleb isn't just greedy. He's dangerous. I gripped the brass key in my fist, sharp edges biting into my skin. I had no weapon, only Evelyn's secrets and my will to survive. The air stank of mold and fear. Each second dragged like a blade across my nerves. My eyes adjusted just enough to see a shadow stretching across the floor. The man hit the bottom, his boots scraping concrete. He muttered to someone above, "He's here. I can smell him." My stomach twisted, like prey cornered. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself not to move, not to breathe too loud. The shadow grew taller as he stepped forward, scanning the room. Then his flashlight snapped on, a cruel beam slicing through the black. It swept across the boxes, across the floor, creeping closer to me. My lungs burned from holding air. Sweat dripped down my neck, tickling, betraying me. The beam paused on a box corner, then moved again, slower now, deliberate. He was savoring it. I shifted my weight, my boots scraping against the concrete. Too loud, too clear. His head jerked toward the sound. The beam locked on my barricade. My chest imploded with dread. He grinned, teeth flashing under the light. "Found you." Panic surged hot through me. My fingers slipped inside the box nearest me, grabbing the first object I touched. A heavy ledger. Worthless as a weapon, but it was all I had. My mind screamed for a way out, for Evelyn's guidance, but only the silence of her absence answered. He took a step closer, light blinding me. My heart hammered so loud I thought it would echo. My grip tightened on the ledger, sweat slicking the cover. His shadow towered as he raised his free hand. Not a weapon, a phone. He lifted it, snapping a photo. The flash seared my eyes. "Caleb's gonna love this," he sneered. My gut clenched. Proof. Proof I'd found the boxes. Proof I had Evelyn's secrets. I lunged forward without thinking, swinging the ledger hard into his arm. The phone clattered to the ground. He cursed, stumbling back. Adrenaline roared through me. I bolted, shoving past him, my shoulder slamming into his chest. He grunted, reaching for me, but I tore away, my boots pounding across the floor. The ladder loomed in the dark, the only escape. My legs burned as I climbed, fingers clawing each rung. "Below," he shouted, furious, scrambling to follow. His flashlight beam danced wildly, catching glimpses of the boxes, the dust, the secrets Evelyn had left. My breath ripped from my lungs as I heaved myself up. My arms screamed, but I pulled, desperate, praying the hatch would open. The hatch stuck. My heart dropped. I shoved harder, my shoulders straining, the rust groaning. Below, he laughed, dark and cruel. "You're not getting out, old man." My pulse thundered, my vision blurred. I slammed my back into it. Once, twice. The hatch gave a little, just enough. With a final roar, I shoved it open, the cold night air rushing over me. I crawled out, gasping, my chest heaving, stars spinning overhead. But as I rolled onto the rooftop, safe for a breath, I saw something that froze my blood. Samantha, standing there, her eyes wide, her face pale, and in her hands, Caleb's envelope. For a moment, the night fell silent. The city below roared with engines, sirens, and muffled voices, but up here, on that frozen rooftop, it was only me and Samantha. Her hands clutched the envelope like it was treasure. My lungs still heaved from the climb, my chest burning, but all I could see was my daughter staring at me with eyes I no longer recognized. "Dad!" Her voice cracked, brittle as glass. She held the envelope tighter, fingers digging into the paper. "Why didn't you tell me? Why are you hiding all this from me?" My heart twisted. The same question Evelyn once asked me, back when I'd lied about the doctor's prognosis. Only this time, the truth was poison waiting to be poured. I rose slowly, knees shaking, my body screaming with exhaustion. "Samantha, that envelope, where did you get it?" I asked. My voice was hoarse, nearly swallowed by the wind. Her lip trembled, but she didn't look away. "Caleb gave it to me. He said you were keeping secrets. He said you were trying to destroy us. And you, what would you do if your own child held a knife made from your enemy's lies? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe, because what came next nearly tore us apart forever." I staggered closer, each step measured, careful not to scare her. "Listen to me," I whispered. "Everything Caleb told you is a lie. He's been lying from the very start." She shook her head, tears glistening on her cheeks. "No, Dad, you're the one lying. He showed me papers, deeds, even bank accounts. Why didn't you ever tell me about them?" The wind whipped her hair across her face, her knuckles white around the envelope. I reached out, but she flinched. The sting in my chest was worse than any wound. "Because you weren't ready to see him for what he is," I said. My throat tightened with every word. "Evelyn knew. She left all this for me, for us, but only after you opened your eyes." Her breath caught, her shoulders trembling. "Mom," she whispered. The word hit me like a knife, slicing through every defense I had left. She blinked, confused, desperate. "Are you saying Mom knew about Caleb before she died?" My lips parted, but no sound came. The truth burned on my tongue. "Yes," I said finally, my voice raw. "She knew. She left letters, Samantha. Proof. Caleb's been drowning in debts, burying lies, and now he's dragging you down with him." Her knees buckled slightly, her body swaying as if the rooftop itself betrayed her. But then her expression hardened. Caleb's shadow etched into her face. "She told you, but not me?" Samantha spat, her voice rising above the wind. "You've always kept me in the dark, Dad. First about her illness, now this. Do you think I'm a child?" Her tears were gone now, replaced by rage. I stepped closer, desperate. "I kept it from you to protect you. Because I knew Caleb would twist it before you understood." The rooftop groaned beneath us, the air thick with tension. Her fingers loosened around the envelope for a second, then tightened again. "Caleb said you'd say this," she whispered. "He said you'd make him look like the villain. He told me if I trusted you, I'd lose everything." My heart plummeted. Caleb had already poisoned her veins with his venom. I wanted to scream her name, shake her awake. Instead, I forced my voice calm. "Look around you, Samantha. What have you gained since Caleb? What has he built for you except ruin? You sold my house for him. You left me in a shelter. And still, he keeps secrets from you." Her face faltered, but only for a breath. She clutched the envelope tighter. "And what about you? You say you're different, but you're holding secrets too. Look at you, running, hiding, carrying papers like a thief. You're no better than him." The words pierced me deeper than any knife. My knees wavered, but Evelyn's voice echoed in my memory. "Don't shield her. Let her learn." I stood straighter, though my bones groaned. "If you really believe that, open the envelope. Read it. Decide for yourself." My voice cracked, but I forced it steady. Her eyes widened, suspicion flickering. She glanced down at the paper trembling in her hands, the seal unbroken. For a heartbeat, I thought she might. Her fingers traced the edge. Her breath hitched. But then, from the shadows below, a voice boomed. Caleb's voice. "Samantha! Don't listen to him!" My blood froze. He was here. Of course he was here. He always arrived when the knife was ready to turn. Samantha jerked toward the sound, eyes wide. "Caleb?" she called, her voice raw. The envelope slipped slightly from her grip, the wind tugging at it. My stomach clenched. If she let go, Evelyn's words would be scattered to the night. I lunged forward, hands outstretched. "Samantha, don't!" But she stepped back. The rooftop edge loomed inches behind her, the city yawning below like a mouth ready to swallow. My heart stopped. Her heels scraped against gravel, her body swaying. The envelope dangled loosely in her hands, her eyes locked on Caleb's shadow moving closer. "Dad, I don't know who to believe," she whispered. Her voice cracked, torn between two worlds. I reached out, my hands trembling, my chest bursting with fear. "Believe the truth," I begged. Not his words. "The truth is in your hands." The wind howled, tearing at her hair, tugging harder at the envelope. Her eyes brimmed with tears again, caught between me and Caleb's voice below. For a heartbeat, I saw my little girl again, the one who once clutched Evelyn's hand during storms. Then it was gone, replaced by a woman drowning in choices too heavy for her shoulders. The envelope slipped, just a corner, just enough to catch the wind. Samantha gasped, grabbing for it, but her heel slid further toward the edge. My scream tore from my throat, raw and helpless. Time slowed, every sound stretching long and cruel. She stumbled, arms flailing, the envelope fluttering free. My body moved before thought, my hands reaching, my legs surging forward despite the pain. The world blurred into a whirl of wind and shadow. My heart thundered, blood roaring in my ears. And then, her scream split the night. The sound tore through me like lightning. The envelope spun away into the dark sky, and Samantha slipped over the edge. Her scream cut through the night, sharper than any blade. My blood turned to ice as I lunged, my fingers stretching into the void. For a split second, I caught her wrist, skin cold, trembling, slick with sweat. The rooftop gravel dug into my knees as I held on, my arm burning, my heart pounding like a war drum. Her wide eyes locked on mine, terror flooding them. "Dad!" she cried, her voice breaking. My grip slipped an inch, panic roaring in my chest. Below her, the city gaped open, headlights streaking like knives, horns blaring from faraway streets. The wind howled around us, tugging at her coat, threatening to pull her down. Every muscle in my body screamed, but I held tighter, my veins bulging, my breath ragged. Caleb's voice bellowed from below, cruel and commanding. "Let her go, old man. You can't save her. You never could." My rage exploded like fire. I tightened my grip, snarling through my teeth. "You'll never take her, not while I breathe." My arms shook violently, the weight of my daughter dragging me toward the edge. Would you risk your life for someone who betrayed you? Leave your answer in the comments, and subscribe now, because what happened next tore the night wide open. Samantha's nails dug into my wrist, her tears streaking down, falling into the void. "Dad, I'm slipping," she gasped. My chest heaved, every heartbeat a cannon firing in my ears. My knees scraped against the rooftop, gravel slicing skin. Pain shot up my leg, but I didn't let go. I couldn't. Not again. The rooftop edge cut into my stomach as I leaned further, my ribs screaming. Her body dangled, shoes kicking at empty air, her sobs blending with the city's roar. "Look at me!" I shouted, my voice hoarse, desperate. "Look only at me, Samantha, not at him!" Her eyes met mine, wide, broken, but alive. Caleb's laugh echoed from below, mocking, triumphant. "She chose me, Walter. She sold you out for me, and now she'll die for me too." My heart ripped, fury and grief colliding. Samantha whimpered, shaking her head, her lips trembling. "No, I didn't know. I didn't." The wind swallowed her words, but I heard them. I heard the crack in her voice. With a roar, I pulled harder, my muscles tearing, veins burning. Inch by inch I dragged her upward, my body threatening to snap under the strain. My shoulder screamed with pain. But I didn't stop. Evelyn's voice thundered in my memory. Don't shield her, but don't abandon her either. Her hand slipped again. My scream tore into the night. Hold on, Samantha! Hold on for your life! She cried out, her nails ripping skin from my wrist. Blood dripped, hot, down my arm. But in that moment, I didn't feel the pain. I only felt the weight of my daughter, the weight of every mistake, every silence, every lie. Finally, with one final heave, I pulled her over the edge. We collapsed onto the rooftop, gasping, trembling, tangled in dust and blood. Her sobs shook her body, her fists clutching my coat like a child again. My chest rose and fell like a bellows, each breath tearing my lungs raw. But she was here. She was alive. For a fleeting second, relief warmed me, until I heard it. Slow, mocking claps from the shadows. Caleb stepped forward from the rooftop hatch, his smirk lit by the city glow. My blood froze. He had been here the whole time, watching, enjoying. Well done, Walter, he sneered. You're stronger than you look, but saving her won't save you. You're both mine. Every document, every secret Evelyn left. It's all mine. His eyes glittered with venom. Samantha stiffened, clutching me tighter. Caleb, she whispered, her voice hollow. You knew? You wanted me to fall? He tilted his head, feigning innocence. Fall? My love, I wanted you to learn. The world eats the weak. I'm just feeding it. The words slithered across the rooftop, colder than the wind. My rage boiled, hotter than fire. You won't touch her again, I growled. Caleb chuckled, stepping closer, his shoes crunching gravel. You think you've got power, old man? You've got paper. I've got people. And right now, they're closing in. Samantha shivered, her nails digging deeper into my arm. Dad, what do we do? She whispered, her voice shaking. My mind spun. Evelyn's map burning in my pocket, the red X's flashing before my eyes. I had to buy time. I had to keep her safe long enough to learn. Caleb crouched low, his smile twisting. Give me the envelope, Walter. Give me Evelyn's little game and maybe I'll let you both crawl away. My jaw clenched. My hand slid instinctively to my coat, where Evelyn's letter burned against my ribs. I couldn't. Not now. Not ever. I stood slowly, my knees wobbling, my fists shaking. No! My voice cracked, but it was iron. You'll never have it. Not while I'm alive. Caleb's smirk widened. Then I'll just have to fix that. He snapped his fingers. From the rooftop hatch, 2 more men emerged, their faces cold, their fists heavy. My heart raced, sweat dripping down my neck. Samantha gasped, pulling back behind me, her breath hot against my shoulder. Caleb straightened, arms wide, like a king claiming his throne. The men advanced, their boots thudding closer, their shadows swallowing the roof. I stepped forward, body trembling, but unyielding. Samantha clung to me, whispering, Dad, please. My pulse thundered, louder than the city, louder than the wind. Caleb's smile cut across the dark like a blade. End of the line, Walter. And then, behind us, the rooftop door slammed open again. A new voice cut through the night, sharp as steel. Step away from him, now! The voice sliced through the rooftop like a blade. Every head turned. Even the wind seemed to stop. Standing in the doorway was a woman in a dark coat, hair pulled tight, eyes like flint. She held a slim black folder under one arm and something heavier, shiny, in the other. My heart jolted. Ms. Delaney, Evelyn's attorney. The one I'd called months ago, but who never answered. She stepped forward, her heels clicking steady against the gravel, the city's neon catching in her glasses. This ends now, she said, voice cold but controlled. Caleb's smirk faltered for the first time. He straightened, adjusting his cufflinks, eyes narrowing at her. Samantha's fingers dug into my sleeve. Who is she? She whispered. Someone who knows the law, I rasped, never taking my eyes off Delaney. My ribs still ached from pulling Samantha up, my hands slick with dried blood, but hope flickered like a match in my chest. Delaney's presence wasn't random. She'd come for a reason Evelyn had set in motion long before. Caleb tried to regain his grin. You're trespassing, Ms. He feigned ignorance, but his jaw tightened. She tilted her head, amused. You know exactly who I am, and you know why I'm here. Her other hand lifted, showing the badge of a court officer. The shiny thing was a warrant. If you've ever seen the moment a liar's mask cracks, subscribe now. Because what Delaney revealed on that rooftop tore Caleb's empire apart in one breath. Caleb's men hesitated, their fists lowering slightly. Warrant? Caleb scoffed. For what? These two are thieves. Delaney didn't flinch. She opened the folder, pulling out sheets of paper covered with stamps and signatures. Fraud. Forgery. Identity theft. You've been busy, Mr. Cole. The way she said his real name made my blood freeze. Cole, not Caleb. Samantha gasped softly, her eyes darting to me. Dad, his name, she whispered. Her world tilted. I felt it. Caleb's smirk twitched, but he forced it back. Old paperwork. Lies. You can't touch me. Delaney's eyebrow arched. I already have. She nodded toward the street below. Sirens wailed faintly, growing louder. The men shifted nervously. Caleb's hands twitched at his sides. His eyes darted between me, Samantha, and Delaney. She's bluffing, he muttered. He stopped when Delaney produced a flash drive identical to mine, holding it up. We have everything. Evelyn left it with me, too. Insurance. My knees nearly gave out. Evelyn had trusted someone else. Someone ready for this moment. Samantha's grip on me loosened. She took a hesitant step toward Delaney, eyes wide. Mom, land all this? She murmured. Delaney's gaze softened briefly as it landed on her. Your mother wanted you safe, but she also wanted you to see him as he is. The words hung in the air, heavy as stone. Caleb snapped. Enough! He lunged forward, grabbing Samantha's arm, yanking her back. She yelped, stumbling. My vision went red. I stepped forward, but Delaney's voice cracked like a whip. Let her go, Cole! His eyes burned with fury, his grip tightening. Samantha winced. I built everything for you! Caleb hissed at her, spittle flying. I gave you more than your father ever did. She trembled, tears cutting tracks down her cheeks. You took everything from me, she whispered. I sold his house for you. Caleb's grip faltered, but only for a heartbeat. I lunged, shoving him hard. He stumbled back, losing his hold on her. Samantha fell into my arms, sobbing. Caleb staggered, catching himself, his face twisting with rage. You old fool, he spat. You think a few papers will save you? I've erased men better than you. Delaney's voice stayed calm, but her eyes glinted. Not this time. The trust is locked. The deeds are frozen. Your accounts are seized as of 30 minutes ago. You've lost. Caleb blinked, his mask cracking. A tremor of panic flickered across his face. The sirens below grew louder, their wail rising like a tide. Red and blue lights danced against the building across the street. Caleb's men exchanged uneasy glances, stepping back. One muttered something about, not worth it. Caleb snarled at them, but they didn't meet his eyes. Samantha clutched my coat, her voice trembling. Dad, is it true? Everything Mom said? My chest tightened. I cupped her face, my thumb brushing her tears. It's true. She knew. She left everything so you could choose. So you'd see. Her lips quivered, her eyes searching mine. Delaney stepped closer, her heels crunching gravel. We can end this now, Cole. Walk away with dignity, or be dragged out in cuffs. Caleb laughed, but the sound was hollow. You think you've beaten me? You don't know what I've got. His hand slid into his coat. My heart lurched. Stop! Delaney barked, reaching for her badge. Caleb pulled something small and black from his pocket, his fingers trembling. Not a gun. A phone. He lifted it high. One call, he hissed. One call and everything burns. Your evidence. Your warrants. All of it. The air thickened, heavy with tension. Delaney's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Caleb's grin returned, jagged and desperate. Try me. His thumb hovered over the screen. Samantha stiffened, her breath hitching. I moved instinctively, stepping between them. Don't, I said quietly, my voice steady despite the quake in my hands. Think about her. Think about what you're doing. Caleb's eyes flicked to Samantha, then back to me. She was supposed to be mine, he snarled. She believed me. His thumb twitched. Sirens wailed directly below now. Doors slammed. Shouted orders rose from the street. Delaney's radio crackled at her hip. Backup had arrived. Caleb's eyes darted, cornered. His mask slipped further, sweat beading his forehead. You don't understand, he muttered. You don't know who I'm working with. The wind whipped around us, tugging at coats and hair, carrying the smell of exhaust and rain. Samantha pressed against me, her heart hammering. Caleb's men backed away entirely, melting into the shadows, abandoning him. He stood alone now, his thumb still hovering. "Drop it," Delaney commanded. "It's over." Caleb's eyes flashed. "Not yet." He pressed the button. A faint chime echoed from his phone. My stomach dropped. Delaney cursed under her breath. "What did you do?" she demanded. Caleb's smile returned, dark and triumphant. "Insurance," he whispered. "By the time you reach your evidence, it'll be ash." And then, from somewhere deep below, an alarm began to wail. A low, mechanical rumble followed, shaking the rooftop under our feet. The rooftop trembled beneath us, a low growl rising from the building's core. Samantha clutched my arm, her eyes wide with terror. "Dad, what's happening?" she gasped. My stomach twisted. Caleb's thumb, that button, the alarm, he'd triggered something. My mind flashed to Evelyn's boxes, the ledgers, the photos, the proof she left, all of it. Still down there. Delaney's face hardened, her voice sharp. "He lit the failsafe. He's burning the evidence." The words punched the air from my chest. Flames already licked my imagination. Ashes where Evelyn's truth had once lived. I staggered toward the hatch, but Delaney blocked me, her hand iron on my chest. "Walter, don't. It's not safe." Caleb laughed, the sound ragged, desperate. "You thought you could corner me?" Evelyn was clever, but not clever enough. I'll bury her little game in fire and smoke, and when the ashes settle, nobody will believe you. His grin split his face, manic. My fists trembled. Rage boiled so hot it burned away my fear. Have you ever seen everything you love threatened with a single spark? Subscribe now, because what Caleb destroyed that night was only the beginning. Smoke curled faintly from the rooftop hatch, gray fingers reaching. Sirens screamed below, boots pounding the street. Delaney's radio crackled with frantic voices. "Basement blaze! Spreading fast!" My knees weakened. Evelyn's handwriting. Evelyn's voice. Gone, if I didn't act. Samantha's sobs filled the night, her words jagged. "Dad, Mom's things, her letters." I pulled free of Delaney's grip, pain stabbing my chest as I lurched forward. "I can't let them burn," I rasped. My hand seized the hatch, metal searing hot under my palm. Smoke poured out, stinging my throat, my eyes. I coughed hard, nearly collapsing. But still, I clung to the thought of Evelyn, the way she pressed the brass key into my palm. "For when you don't know where to stand," Delaney shouted behind me, her tone both furious and terrified. "Walter, you'll die down there!" Caleb barked laughter, louder, wilder. "Let him! Let the old fool roast with his ghosts!" His madness echoed in the night, but I blocked it out. My bones screamed as I lowered myself into the hatch, smoke swallowing me whole. The heat hit me first, waves of it, rolling thick, suffocating. My lungs burned, every breath fire. I groped along the ladder, my boots slipping on rungs slick with soot. The bulb that had lit the basement earlier was gone, burst into sparks. The room below flickered red, shadows dancing across the walls. The boxes? Evelyn's boxes. Flames licked their edges, eating through cardboard, curling paper into black ash. My heart shattered. I stumbled forward, coughing, tears streaming down from the smoke. I grabbed one box, then another, my arms shaking as I tried to haul them to the ladder. My chest heaved, the fire searing my skin. Above me, Samantha screamed, "Dad, get out!" Her voice cracked, frantic. I looked up, saw her silhouette through the haze, her arm reaching down, my vision blurred. Still, I shoved one box onto the bottom rungs, then another. Flames clawed at my sleeves. My coat caught, fire trailing up my arm. I slapped it out, gasping, my hands raw, blistered. The air roared around me, wood cracking, metal groaning. Evelyn's letters burned at my feet, pages curling, ink bleeding into smoke. My heart split open. I snatched one half-burned sheet, Evelyn's handwriting still visible. "Don't shield her." The rest gone, swallowed by flame. My knees buckled. My chest screamed for air. I dragged another box, weaker now, my arms trembling like broken beams. Above, Delaney shouted orders, her voice sharp, commanding. "Hose line! Now!" but the fire spread faster than voices, faster than hope. I forced the last box onto the ladder, my lungs collapsing. My vision tunneled, edges black. The roar of the fire drowned everything. I stumbled, collapsing to my knees. My hand closed around the brass key in my pocket, hot against my skin. Evelyn's last anchor. My lips moved soundlessly. Not yet. Not yet. Hands grabbed me, rough, desperate. Samantha. Her grip under my arms, pulling, yanking, sobbing. "Don't leave me, Dad. Not like Mom." Her strength, her fear, dragged me upward inch by inch. My boots scraped the ladder, my head spun. Smoke filled my lungs, my chest heaved, but I moved, because she begged me to. We burst onto the rooftop, air colder, cleaner, but still choking. I collapsed against the gravel, coughing, hacking black soot. Samantha clutched me, tears cutting streaks down her ash-stained face. Behind us, Delaney and the firefighters dragged the boxes away, water hissing, steam rising. The blaze fought back, but it was losing. Caleb's scream ripped through the chaos, furious, broken. "No! No! That was mine!" His face twisted, veins bulging, madness spilling out. He lunged, but Delaney's men caught him, shoving him back, slamming cuffs on his wrists. His roar turned into guttural curses, spittle flying, eyes wild. Samantha stared at him, trembling. You wanted it all gone," she whispered, horror flooding her voice. Caleb sneered at her, even in chains. "Better ash than in his hands. Better you blind than knowing the truth." Her face crumpled, her sobs shaking her thin frame. Delaney turned to me, her glasses fogged, her coat streaked with soot. "We saved enough," she said firmly. "Not all, but enough." My chest ached. Evelyn's letters, Evelyn's voice, some gone forever. Yet pieces survived. Enough to wound him, enough to tell her story. Samantha's hand clutched mine, shaking. Her eyes searched my face, desperate, broken. "Dad, I didn't know. I didn't see. I'm so sorry." Her voice cracked. A plea, a confession. My heart ached, torn between love and pain. I stroked her hair, coughing through the soot. "Now you see. That's what she wanted." My voice rasped, but the words burned clear. Samantha sobbed harder, pressing her forehead to my chest, clinging like the little girl who once feared storms. Delaney approached, her folder tucked under her arm. "Walter, there's more." Evelyn gave me something else, something I wasn't supposed to reveal until the fire came. She reached into her coat, pulling out a small black envelope, sealed with wax. My heart stopped. The same seal Evelyn used on our wedding invitations. The same seal she used for her most private words. My hands trembled as I took it, the wax smooth and cold against my blistered fingers. Caleb thrashed against his captors, roaring. "Don't you dare open that! Don't you—" His voice cracked into rage, desperation dripping from every word. My pulse thundered, my chest tightening as I held the envelope close. Samantha's breath hitched, her voice small. "What is it, Dad?" I stared at the wax seal, my throat dry. My hands shook so violently I nearly dropped it. Evelyn's voice whispered in my memory, steady as ever. "When the fire comes, you'll know." And I realized this was never just about Caleb. It was about the secret Evelyn had hidden from both of us. The envelope sat heavy in my hands, the wax seal glistening under the rooftop lights. My fingers trembled, blistered skin raw, but I couldn't let go. Samantha leaned closer, her breath shallow, her eyes wide with fear and hope tangled together. The world around us blurred. The fire, the sirens, Caleb's muffled curses. All I saw was Evelyn's mark, her final whisper from beyond. Delaney's voice cut through the night, steady, measured. "Walter, she told me only you could open it, that it wasn't mine to touch." My throat clenched. My chest heaved with every breath, the soot still burning in my lungs. I pressed my thumb to the seal, my heart pounding, every beat a question. What had Evelyn hidden here? What truth had she carried to her grave? Caleb thrashed against his captors, spittle flying as he screamed, Don't open it! You don't understand what she did!" His voice cracked, not with power but with panic. For the first time, real fear etched his face. That fear chilled me deeper than the fire had. Have you ever opened something you weren't ready to know? Subscribe now. Because the secret inside that envelope broke everything I thought I knew about Evelyn. And about myself. I cracked the seal. The wax snapped. Brittle. The sound echoing in my ears like a gunshot. Inside was a folded sheet. Yellowed. Creased. Written in Evelyn's familiar blue ink. My hand shook as I unfolded it, my eyes straining through the haze of smoke and tears. The words leapt at me. Walter, if the fire has reached you, then my last truth must also. You think Caleb found us, but he didn't. I found him, and I let him in. My breath vanished. My knees wavered. I clutched the paper tighter, the rooftop tilting beneath me. Samantha's voice trembled. Dad, what does it say? My lips moved, but no sound came. My chest locked tight. Every word Evelyn wrote cutting deeper. I knew what he was. I knew his debts, his lies. But I believed I could use him. To test her, to harden her, to prepare her for a world without me. The paper blurred through my tears. My stomach turned. No, I whispered, my voice breaking. Samantha gripped my arm, desperate. What? Tell me! My throat ached. I forced the words out. Your mother. She knew Caleb. She let him in. She wanted you to face him. Samantha recoiled, her face crumpling. No, she wouldn't. Her sobs tore through the night, raw, wounded. Caleb's laugh erupted, jagged, manic. You hear that, princess? Mommy brought me to you. I wasn't the villain. I was the lesson. His voice echoed cruel, filling every shadow. I roared, my voice ragged. Shut your mouth. Rage seared through me, hotter than the flames below. But the letter still shook in my hands. Evelyn's words stared back at me. Walter, forgive me. I trusted her strength. I trusted your silence. If she loves him more than truth, let her fall. If she chooses truth, she will rise. Delaney's eyes softened. Her lips pressed tight. She played the long game, she murmured. She set the stage for this moment. My chest cracked open. I wanted to hate Evelyn, to scream at her memory. But love tangled with grief, binding me. She had risked everything, even our daughter's heart, for this test. Samantha sobbed into her hands, her voice jagged. She used me. She let me be broken. Her shoulders shook violently. I pulled her close, but she pushed away, her eyes blazing through tears. You knew something. You had that key, those letters. You knew she planned something. My heart shattered. I didn't know this, I rasped. I never knew she chose him. I thought he was a mistake. Her mistake. Not this. My voice cracked, my body trembling. Samantha's tears fell harder, her face a storm of rage and pain. Caleb sneered, twisting the knife. She picked me. She knew I'd gut you, old man. She knew I'd carve her soft little girl into steel. And look at her now, crying, broken, begging. Evelyn made me your devil. His grin stretched wide, unholy. Samantha screamed, lunging toward him, her fists clenched. I grabbed her, holding her back, her body shaking in my arms. Don't, I pleaded. He wants this. Don't give him the victory. She sobbed into my chest, her voice muffled, broken. I hate him. I hate her. I hate all of it. The letter fluttered in my hand, its ink smudged with my sweat. I read the last line aloud, my voice hollow. When the truth burns, only love can remain. Choose, Walter. Choose with her. My hands shook, the words rattling my bones. Evelyn's test wasn't just for Samantha. It was for me, too. Delaney whispered, almost to herself. She forced the lie to collapse, to make space for something stronger. But Samantha's eyes blazed, wet and furious. Stronger? I lost everything. My home, my pride, my trust in her, in you. What's left? I held her face gently, my thumb brushing her tears. What's left, I said, voice raw, is us, if we want it. Her lips trembled, her chest heaving. Caleb's laughter rolled like thunder behind us, wild, mocking. Us? Samantha spat, her voice trembling with rage. You want me to forgive her? Forgive you? After everything? My throat burned. I swallowed hard. Not forgive. Understand. Survive. Rise. My words barely held against the storm of her grief. She pulled away, her face pale, her body shaking. I don't know if I can. My heart cracked, but I let her step back. Her choice was hers alone. Caleb's sneer grew, his chains rattling. She'll never stand with you. She's mine, She always was. Samantha turned, her gaze locking on him. For the first time, her tears stopped, her jaw set, her shoulders straightened. She took one step closer to Caleb, her eyes burning. "No," she said, her voice low, trembling but fierce. "I was never yours. And now I see what Mom wanted me to see." Caleb's grin faltered. His eyes darted, searching her face for the weakness he once owned. But Samantha didn't flinch. She raised her chin, her voice cutting sharp. "You were the test, and you failed." The words hung heavy in the night, slicing through the smoke, through the sirens, through Caleb's last smirk. His face twisted, veins bulging, fury spilling out like venom. He roared, lunging forward, chains clattering against metal. And then Delaney's phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced down, her eyes narrowing. Her voice went cold. "Walter! Samantha! We need to leave! Now! This goes deeper than him!" The rooftop shook again. Faint, but real. Not from fire this time. From something else below. Something Evelyn had never written about. The rooftop trembled, but not from Caleb's fury. The ground below rumbled like a buried giant, shifting in its sleep. Samantha clutched my arm, her eyes wide. Delaney's voice was sharp, urgent. "This building isn't safe. Evelyn's trail goes deeper, much deeper." She knew Caleb wasn't alone. My chest tightened, the final line of Evelyn's letter burning in my mind. "Choose with her." I looked at Samantha, her face streaked with soot and tears, yet her jaw set with new strength. She wasn't the girl who sold my house anymore. She wasn't the puppet Caleb strung along. She was raw, wounded, but awake. My decision was clear. "Then we go," I said, steady. "Together." Caleb's laugh rang hollow, desperate. "Run if you want. You can't outrun the others. I wasn't the only devil she brought to your door." His chains rattled as he thrashed, his eyes wild, spit flying. He looked less like a man, more like a cornered beast. Samantha's glare sliced through him. "You failed, Caleb. And even in chains, you're nothing." Delaney motioned to her men. "Get him out of my sight." They dragged him, still snarling, down the hatch. His curses echoed as the sirens swallowed him. For the first time in years, I saw his power crumble into dust. But my chest still ached. Evelyn's letter haunted me, its ink still wet on my soul. "And you? What would you have done in my place? Would you follow a dead woman's plan? Or turn away? Leave me your answer in the comments. And subscribe, because this ending is only the beginning of something even larger." We descended the stairwell, smoke trailing behind, the building groaning with every step. Delaney led us through a side exit into the wet street, red and blue lights flashing, firefighters battling the last of the flames. The air stank of smoke and gasoline. Samantha's hand gripped mine tight, her knuckles white. At the curb, Delaney pulled me aside. Her eyes gleamed in the light of the flames. "Walter, Evelyn gave me one final instruction. If you survived the fire, I was to show you this." She pulled a small brass key from her pocket. My knees buckled, identical to mine. My fingers trembled as I took it. The world tilted. 2 keys, 2 locks. Evelyn's game wasn't finished. It was only half revealed. Delaney's gaze was steady. "There's a storage vault downtown." She called it the last door. "That's where the truth ends." Samantha gasped, her lips parting. "Mom planned even this?" Her voice wavered between awe and grief. I nodded, my throat dry. "She left us breadcrumbs. She knew we'd be here." Evelyn's voice whispered in my bones again. "When the fire comes, you'll know." Delaney handed me a slip of paper with an address. "You'll need both keys, and you'll need her with you." She tilted her head at Samantha. My daughter's grip on me tightened. Her eyes brimmed, but she nodded. "I'm ready," she whispered. For the first time, I believed her. The fire hissed behind us, steam rising into the night. Caleb's shouts faded in the distance, swallowed by sirens. The city seemed to exhale, yet my chest held only weight. Evelyn had left a vault of secrets, secrets that could free us or bury us all. We reached the car Delaney had waiting. Its leather smelled of dust and rain. Samantha slid in beside me, her head leaning on my shoulder, her body trembling. For years, she had trusted the wrong man. Now, for the first time, she trusted me. My heart ached with both pain and relief. The drive was silent, except for the hum of the engine and the whisper of rain on glass. Samantha's hand never left mine. I stared out the window, Evelyn's smile flickering in my mind. She had built a labyrinth of lies to shield us, and only now were we finding the center. We stopped at a granite building, cold and faceless, its doors locked with iron. The air smelled of wet stone, the street deserted. Delaney led us to a vault door, its surface smooth, its lock gleaming. "This is it," she said quietly. My pulse thundered. I pulled out my brass key. Samantha pulled the other from Delaney's hand. Our eyes met, hers steady, mine burning. Together we slid them into the twin locks. Metal groaned. Gears clicked. The vault door shuddered open. A rush of cold air spilled out, carrying the faint scent of lilac, Evelyn's scent. Inside, rows of shelves stretched into darkness. Boxes lined them, each marked in her careful hand. Not just financial ledgers, not just deeds, diaries, letters, a lifetime of truths Evelyn had hidden. My knees weakened as I stepped inside, Samantha clutching my arm. One box lay separate from the rest, black, sealed with wax. On its lid, a single word, family. My hand trembled as I lifted it, the weight heavy, sacred. Samantha's breath caught. "Dad, this is what she meant." My chest ached, tears stinging my eyes. "Yes," I whispered, "this is the last door." We carried it out together, setting it on a table. My hands shook as I broke the seal. Inside were photographs, our wedding day, Samantha's birth, Evelyn's smile, letters, dozens, written to both of us. Her voice, her love, her warnings, all here. Not ashes, not gone, saved. Samantha sobbed, clutching one letter to her chest. She still loved us. Even through all this, she loved us. I wrapped my arm around her, my own tears falling. "Yes," I whispered. "She loved us enough to make sure we learned." The words burned, but they healed too. Delaney stood back, her eyes soft. "Now you understand. He didn't leave you pain, Walter. He left you a foundation, a way forward." My chest heaved, the weight of grief easing, replaced with fragile hope. Evelyn had tested us, but she had also given us the tools to rebuild. Outside, dawn broke over the city, the first pale light scattering the smoke. Samantha leaned against me, exhausted but alive. We had been torn apart, burned, broken, but now, in the ruins, we had a chance to rise again. I pressed the brass key into Samantha's hand. She looked up, startled. "Dad?" I smiled weakly. "It was always meant for you, for when you don't know where to stand." Her lips trembled, her tears falling onto the key. She held it tight. Together we closed the vault. The echoes of Evelyn's voice lingered, not as commands, but as love. The fire had come, and yet we were still here, stronger, changed, alive. As we walked into the dawn, the city waking around us, I realized something I hadn't dared before. Caleb was gone. Evelyn was gone. But what remained was more powerful than either loss. Samantha squeezed my hand. "We'll make it, won't we?" Her voice was soft, trembling. I looked at her. My daughter. My blood. My second chance. "Yes," I whispered, "because now we know where to stand." What about you? Would you forgive the dead if their lies saved you in the end? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because what came after this story was even more unbelievable.